Hello everybody, my name's Qorbane and this is my Songblade Bard build. He's primarily focused around AOE and I think they're pretty good. As you see, I'm running with a summoned, so this will also incorporate a summoned build into it. Let's go ahead and start with stats, or actually my gear. So as you see, I run the Crimson Scalebreaker. Most of the stuff that I run is acquired through the new Dragonbone Veil. These are included. My weapon set's also here in the Dragonbone Veil. Shirt, pants, Dragonbone Veil. The Mythalar set for the artifact, and the waist and the neck. My spiked Vimbraces are obtained through Valenhaus from doing insurgencies and completing the heroics and taking the chaotic ridings to Juma and getting Juma bags. The Rusted Iron Lang is obtained the same way, although you can also obtain them from killing Abomination, who's a wandering boss monster in Valenhaus. This is the Demogorgon artifact. I run it for its item level. The Book of Vile Darkness. I run it mainly because I was running the Dark Remnant set for a very long time. I really like the straight increase to damage, 2.5, and since I was doing a lot of insurgencies and still go to Valenhaus an awful lot, I keep it around because the extra 2.5 gives me a solid 5% against demons, fiends, and devils. And I run the Bard Sigil as my artifact that I use because it increases damage bonus by 5% and also helps anybody that happens to be around. For rings, I run the Forgotten Raid Ring of the Prospector, mainly because I needed the stats to increase my combat damage and crit strike. And I run the Leading Ring of the Sage, which is, I think, from Lair of the Mad Mage or Tomb of the Mad Mage, Tower of the Mad Mage. I bought it at the auction house. But I use it because it adds to my at-will and encounter powers, 3% more damage, and decreases my daily power, but my daily power I have doesn't do damage, so I didn't feel that that was a bad thing. And since these were cheap on the auction house, I really liked it. And that's going to be the main thing about my build that you'll see, is all this stuff is obtainable through solo content, or the auction house, which I bought with Astral Diamonds to get them, and I haven't done any of these, well, haven't done very much of these actual missions, so that'll be a thing on there. Stat wise, you see where I'm setting. But I focus mainly on trying to get my power up for my build, which is setting at 84.4%. But whenever I use my power box, consume a drink, and eat a piece of food, I get up 90. That's a lot of ways to go around it, but it also increases other stats as well and helps me out. 90 to help that, because it's the one stat I could cap. Mounts, I run the Magnificent Inspiration, yet again for more damage whenever I'm fighting. Plus it helps get rid of the trash. Dominant Force, because I need to increase my power. My stable, I run Berserker's Rage, Combat Maneuvers, Artificer, Gladiator, and Gladiator. I use primarily Dominance with some skill and a couple brutalities thrown in to get me up there for these. Eventually I'd like to get these to Mythic, but right now I've only got them at Legendary. Getting them to Mythic's kind of a hard road. For companions, I run the Neverwinter Knight, Golden Cat, Black Dragon Insight. This is the new witch that came out with Dragonbone Veil. You could get her at the Zen Market. And Ghost. I picked them up. A lot of these I got randomly through Juma bags and from doing quests and so on and so forth. This one came from completing the Echoes of Prophecy, I think I got him out of a Nox box. And I have the Dragonborn pack, which is where I got him, and he goes throughout my entire account. So that was a very good pack to get, I think, because that's a big help. Most of my equipment's all obtained for them. I've gotten them through Sharndar from doing the dailies. They good high item level, good high power, but Dragonbone Veil also has the pack that can help you out there on that and get more of those too once you get to Dragonbone Veil and complete it. This is one of the new ones that I just completed for completing the new adventure through here. It gave me one 1400 piece companion gear, and that's what I got. I use acute senses to yet again raise my combat advantage because I'm trying to get my combat advantage as high as I can whenever I'm in combat. Boons, your DPS, you go with all the DPS boons all the way to the top. That's pretty easy and self-explanatory as you're going. I use the stronghold ones. I use crit severity for defense. I use incoming healing and utility. I use the mount speed bonus. Power wise, okay, here we go. This is my primary killer. I'm not going to even try to pronounce some of their names because I just can't. So Con Elemento is the one that I use primarily for my attack. I use it paired with Tailwind Mambo to give me my whirlwind attack and helps me do a lot of damage. I carry this one just because I have to carry a second one, but I hardly ever use it. This is my duet. It's a good little attack. Whenever something gets too close, you can just poke it and do a lot of damage. It's really good. Plus it helps days. The Ad Libitum is a good one for doing pretty good damage. I'll show it whenever I'm triggering. They can trigger extra attacks, so your encounter powers could go off rather fast. And Volti Subito is my one that allows me to jump forward and just barely barrel through my opponents and do a lot of damage as I go through them. So I like to round up all the bad guys in an area, hit them with Ad Libitum, and then volts through them. Any of them left, I stab with that, or hit them with a Tailwind Mambo. These are my dailies. I don't ever hardly use them. They just don't seem to do very much, so even before I added the one that took 30% damage away, I just didn't care much for them, so I just don't use them. This is the one I primarily use, so it's slotted and I can fast cast it. These ones are pretty good, especially if you're in downtime and you just want to do some healing. Steel March is pretty good if you got if you want to just do the physical damage. Battle of the Witch is pretty good too. Helps with combat. They're all really good. All of these are really good, but this is the one that I use the most because I like doing the whirlwind damage from a distance. I use this one for my class feature because if I play my song in combat, my damage and healing is increased, so I run into and play my song and then start doing damage a lot of times. Dancing Blade, because I use my at-wills an awful lot, this helps because it gives me a little bit more. Feat-wise, backup performer, I thought it clearly was the better of them. The Elemental Medley, probably one of the best ones that they have to offer as far as feats. It's where you get most of your stuff from. It's just a really good one. Adieu, it's a good one. I liked it better than this one, so that's why I went with them. I don't know if these are the best feats, but this is the route I went because it helped round my character out and to do my damage that I do. And Reformer is the last one. Appearance doesn't matter, it's whatever you prefer. And that pretty much goes through all that. For enchantments, I'm still working on my enchantments. I did manage to get my offensive ones all to mythic. They're power, 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 and crit. And then I got a forte one here and my equip down here. And then I like to move fast, so I got the movement speed one. For my defensive ones, I just went all defense to help bolster my defense up as high as I could. Ideally, these will get to mythic at some point, but not right now. So that's the gist of him. Like I said, I use the Forger's box and the potion that I use down there to help get my is the Sun Lord's gift. It helps raise combat advantage and accuracy to get to a little bit extra bonus on all those is why I use it. I use the watermelon sorbet because I had it. It's available in the auction house. You can buy all this stuff. You can buy everything that I have, and everything that I use is obtainable through the auction house. And that's why I always say I'm primarily a solo player, so my build is built around being a solo player. I run around here and do things by myself. I don't do the RTQs. I don't do the dungeons very often. When I do, I just do them. But I like to build my character just to be a solo player and to run around here and have a good time. I like to be able to just jump in and jump out without having to worry about being on a team and taking forever. If I want to quit, I quit, and I just have fun playing a solo player. But I think my build and the way that I've built it gets me ready that I can go and do just about any dungeon. If I wanted to start from here to build up, I think this is a good spot, which is what my build mainly is. It's primarily the not yet ready for primetime build, but you can get going if you wanted to start doing Voss, to start doing Crown, to start doing hardcore mini boss runs, to start doing all those. This will get you there, and I know because I've tested it out in some of those areas, and I don't have any problems at all. So I'll show you a little bit of how I do my attacks and how my combat works. Like I said, I got him. So basically I start off, I just pull out my thing, run in here to the group, get my song going, and then I'll start doing these attacks like this, and then I'll jump up. Pretty much everything's dead. So he's not as stealthy and as quick about it as, say, a rogue, but I've also got distance, so I can attack them from a distance. And when they get up to me, I barrel through them and then poke the last guy, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So I think they do pretty good damage. This is the Dragonbone Vale, so this is conceivably probably the hardest content for a solo player because it's the highest level. You see, it's got a 45. Higher level than anything else, even Sharndar. So if you can survive here on this build, you can pretty much do everything in the game solo-wise pretty easy. And that's pretty much my build altogether. So I hope it helped out somebody. I hope it gives you an idea of how to go with a bard. They're pretty good AOE attackers. I actually go a little bit farther to say they're better than pretty good. They're very effective. They do a lot of damage. I find that it does a lot of damage. It's not a rogue, and it's not a barbarian, it's not a fighter. It's something different. And you have pretty good ranged attack, and you can pretty much handle everything out here, so I like it. And like I said, I've taken him through some of the other adventures. I've gone on some mini-boss runs, and he does fairly well. He suffers from the same thing that a lot of the ranged attack do, is if you don't want to get in a melee with very many people, you want to stay back. So that's just it. I hope he helps, and I hope you like the video. If you have any questions, please post them down below. I'll try my best to answer, and that's all I've got. So thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye.